Bonjour, new moons. I am Josie the Mustang, the Afro-Latina, Regina George of Witches, and you're aligned with the frequency of the Lua Nova podcast. And in today's bonus episode, we are you saw the title. We're celebrating because it is Samhain. Did I say that right? Did I say that right, pagans? I hope that I said that right. Halloween and Dia dos Bruxas, okay? And it's important for me to talk about this as a practicing witch. And because I have new listeners, sorry, new moons who have been here forever, I'm going to have to repeat myself on something because my new listeners like to send in the exact same question over and over and over again. So I'm hoping that they hear this. Yes, I'm Afro-Latina, but my mother is not. Now, why is that even a thing? Why does it matter? I don't know why, but I get asked this a lot. My mother is Mexican-American. My father was Afro-Brazilian. Okay. Therefore, I am Afro-Latina, half Mexican, half Brazilian. Got it? Got it. All right. Now, as far as being a practicing witch, yes, both sides of my family had witches. My great grandmother is the witch that I knew the most about. That's how I came to be. That's how my practices came to be. I am also a child of Santa Muerte. So this is a very important time for me. And for those who only know English and don't know what her name means, it just means that she is the saint of death. That's what her name translates to. Okay. But she's extremely important, especially now when the veil is thin. Another thing that I need to address is that I have been a tarot card reader for 17 years. I have been studying tarot front and back for 17 years. Did I always have clients? No, I did not always take clients. Back in the day, I would just learn tarot and I knew it front and back, even before I started taking clients. Okay. And in the beginning, those people used to get free tarot readings. And now look at me now. Now I do this for a living. Also, as a practicing witch, no, I don't do spells every day. Most witches don't. It's not when you become unless you do spells for other people, which I don't. And there are witches who do a lot of spells for other people, and that's amazing. But I am not somebody who takes those types of clients. I only take tarot clients. But I just have to explain that over and over again. I'm sorry, those of you who are like, oh my God, we know. I know you know. But when I tell you we still get these messages in the inbox, now they don't come to me, but definitely my team definitely lets me know, hey, you're being asked this again. I don't know. I thought you mentioned this 100 times now on your show. Probably 1,000 at this point. I know. And so I have to repeat that. Okay. So getting into today's topic, what I want you to think about is, what is your highest self like? What do they wear? What does that version of you eat? Where does that version of you eat? What do they drive? What is their day-to-day like? I want you to really concentrate on that. And before we jump into it, I'm going to give you a second to really think about it, to put yourself in that mindset. We're going to take a deep breath and all of it, because I want you to picture the version of you that does already exist, but the version of you and what that highest self would dress like if you don't already. Okay. Because that version of you is who I want you to dress up like for this holiday. Okay. Something that we can always do to honor our ancestors, which is extremely important, is to continue to live as our highest self, is to continue to be better. Think of everything that your ancestors went through so that you could be here. Think of everything that they survived so that you can be the best version of you. And with that comes a certain level of responsibility. And with that responsibility, I want you to be the best version of yourself. Every time that you thought to yourself, I wonder what it would be like to be this amazing CEO with this happy marriage, etc. That means that there's a version of you that already has that. So what is that version of you like? And think about what your ancestors would feel like watching you embody that, watching you become that, because they're already aware. They're there for you for a reason. And the reason why I bring up the ancestors is that during this time when the veil is at its thinnest, this is when it's the easiest to connect with our ancestors. This is why it's very common, especially in Mexican culture, to set up altars and give offerings. Now, as a practicing witch, I always have an altar. I always honor my ancestors. This is not a holiday for me. This is always a thing for me. Dressing up as a quote unquote dressing up as a witch. Well, I'm a witch every day. I don't wear a pointy hat, but that doesn't stop me from being a witch. I do have many witches' brooms. I mean, I'm always going to be a witch. Doesn't matter what holiday it is. So at all. So this isn't something that you're just doing sometimes. You don't honor your grandmother that you loved sometimes. You honor her all the time. And remember that you are the altar. You are the altar. And a lot of you may not understand what that means. What it means to be the altar is to embody everything that your spirit guides, your ancestors, your guardian angels, source, everything that they would want from you. Also, that even means honoring the animal version of our spirit guides. Now, in my culture, in both of my cultures, really, we think about my heavy indigenous roots that I have. For those who are new, my great grandmother was a Mexican indigenous practitioner. There you go. So you can tell when I get tired of repeating myself, can't you? But something that was always ingrained in me once I began to really practice witchcraft was that if you have what is called a familiar, that's a big deal. And so Hoshi was my familiar. You all know that by now, for those who are not new. And so I never saw him as a pet. I don't see him as a pet. And so for those of you who have lost in the animal in your life that was very important to you, or animals, you don't have to just honor them sometimes. Honor them all the time. A lot of you wear jewelry that has their picture on it, or you get a tattoo of their paws, things of that nature. That is an example of being the altar. If, for instance, you have a necklace that has your grandmother's picture, or it was her necklace, that is you being the altar. You get what I'm saying? By you taking care of yourself, maybe you're drinking the sparkling water I told you about, that is you being the altar. You get what I'm saying? So that is what I am referring to. This is why when people are really quick to judge what witches are, what witchcraft is, the word witch has a negative connotation, which is why I use it. Because I enjoy the fact that people who are ignorant choose to just have this idea in their head of what a witch is. When really what it means is that I am connected with the earth. I am connected with source. I am connected with my spirit guides, my guardian angels, my ancestors who are not demonic, by the way. And I am still laughing at that dumb video. But it is my way of saying that's all that I embody, and I'm proud of it. And nobody and no religion is going to erase that. I am going to continue to think for myself and help other people to think for themselves and free themselves from this very backwards, negative, low vibrational way of being. And I say all of that to say that I need you to lock in. What does your highest self embody? Do this to honor your ancestors. Talk to your ancestors. Talk to your spirit guides. If you want to work with deities, have a conversation with them. Don't be afraid to. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm just going to throw out a deity. Hey, Persephone, I feel like I'm being drawn to you. Can you show me a sign that you are here? Hey, grandmother, I feel like I want to talk to you more. Can you show me a sign that you are here? Watch my grandma send me something. Grandma, hold on. Wait. You know, Hoshi always shows me he's here. So you know what I mean? Like, I need this time for you to understand the embodiment of what it means to be your highest self. It is not just, well, my highest self is a millionaire or CEO who drives a Ferrari. Well, that's great, but there's more to it than that. What are they like on the inside? What will that version of you become? That's what I'm asking you to embody. It's not a costume. It is who you actually are. And so we're going to dress as them. Well, a lot of us already do, but dress as them. What do they dress like? What do they act like? What do they drive? Where do they go? Okay. Got that in? And what I'm going to do to add to this is I'm going to pick a tarot card for you. Now, this is a special deck. I don't know how many cards this is. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, I guessed that. That's crazy. I was like, oh, I think it's about 10 cards. Yep. So I have chosen 10 cards from my beautiful pink tarot deck that I use for clients and that I use for you. And what I'm going to be doing from this very special deck that I have put aside is getting a message for you based on your highest self. Okay, I have chosen cards like the Magician or the Empress, and they have gone into this very tiny little stack of cards. And that is how I'm going to be choosing your collective reading for this bonus today. So, one moment as I put down that deck and pull up the rest of my docket. Have you thought about what your highest self is doing? What is your highest self doing right now? What are they doing? To book a personal tarot reading with me, submit your question for the 6th House Virgo segment, and your question just might be read right here on the show, or read the full disclaimer on spiritual consent and listener responsibility. Visit luanovapodcast.net. To submit a case for Court of the New Moon, go to courtofthenewmoon.com. If you would like to become a Patreon member, download the Patreon app or go to patreon.com/the Lua Nova podcast. Support is also appreciated, so I want to thank you for those of you who always send in donations, and you can do so via Venmo or Cash App. The Venmo username is @LuaNova. The Cash App username is $Lua Nova Podcast. Copyright 2025 Lua Nova. All rights reserved. And before we really get into talking about our highest self, what they're dressed like, what they're acting like, do me a big favor. Take a deep breath in and exhale the nonsense. All right. Shake yourself. Roll your shoulders back. Okay. Tilt your head from side to side. Okay. Roll those shoulders back and release that jaw. Okay. Stop clenching your jaw so much. Got it? Shake your fingers out. Shake your hands out. Stand up if you need to. I cannot because I'm currently recording. But do whatever it is that you need to do to really get into the mindset. If you need to take a second, pause this, listen to some meditation music, listen to, the song that makes you feel like the baddest bitch in the world. Do that. That works too. Okay? And when you are ready, let's get into your collective reading for your highest self. What is the message from your highest self? Remember, this is 10 cards that I have put aside from this deck. And if you do not consent to having your tarot cards read, go ahead and fast forward for me. All right. What is your message from your highest self? It's very hard to shuffle a deck that only has 10 cards, but I'm going to try. And your message from your highest self is the 4 of Wands. Keep in mind that the 4 of Wands oftentimes comes up when it pertains to happy unions. Think about, for instance, a happy marriage, or a happy union, meaning that it's you and all your employees and you're all thriving, or it's you and all of your friends and you're thriving. Maybe you have a friend group that you have been tight with since, 9th grade. Okay. And now you're an adult and all of you just start to thrive. That is 4 of Wands energy. This is this time period of your life where it all just seems to be up. Everybody is even looking at you and thinking, how did they do it? I watched them be in this tiny little apartment. If you've ever watched Abbott Elementary, and I hope that you do because it's an amazing show, think about Janine's apartment. They've shown her apartment like twice. You went from that to this massive, mansion with nothing but glass windows. You know what I mean? So I won't get more into that maybe another day, but maybe that's where you're at now in your life. And maybe you're the top real estate agent. Maybe you are just top in your class. And that is how you picture your highest self is, I'm the top of my class always. I do really well in life easily. I can buy whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I've helped so many people. Many of you like me, one thing that you want to manifest and continue to manifest is being able to help a lot of people or animals. I like to do both. So that is what my highest self is doing. And so that is what the Four of Wands is all about. It is about this celebration of where you're at, of understanding that all of that gratitude paid off, because it's not fake gratitude. You ever met anybody and they pretend that they're grateful? They're very much so like, well, no, I mean, I am so grateful for my car. I am so grateful for my mom. And I'm like, yeah, but these Pinterest affirmations that you're giving don't really tell me that you are genuinely grateful, because you treat your car like shit and your mom's a really kind person, but you seem to be kind of awful in the way that you respond to her. So no, you're really not that grateful. You're just saying a bunch of words. And Four of Wands energy is, no, I am grateful. Not only am I grateful for this old Honda that I have, but I kept it when I finally did get this, beautiful Bentley. I kept that Honda because I wanted to remember it and honor it for all that we went through together. I've heard that story many times and I have been that story myself. So that's true gratitude. Not saying that you have to do that, by the way, but that is true gratitude. True gratitude is, you know what? My mom had to sacrifice everything for me and she raised me by herself. It sounds like I'm talking about me. And now I get to buy her all of the Chanel that she could ever want. Yes, I'm talking to you, Mom. You know what I mean? That is grateful. Now, do you have to do that? No, you don't have to do that. But there are many ways to show gratitude. But Four of Wands energy is, that gratitude is pouring out of me. I have rescued I don't know how many Pomeranians and have a Pomeranian rescue simply because I love Hoshi. That's an example. By the way, I haven't done that. I'm just saying. I mean, I do donate to Pomeranian rescues and other rescues, but that's a whole other story. I don't really get into that. But Four of Wands energy is that. It is this harmony. It is a balance in your life. It is building a community of nothing but high vibration. And I want you all to understand what I mean by high vibration. I'm going to give you the opposite because a lot of the time that helps you to get it. So there is a very popular, I guess he's a blogger or a YouTuber, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want you all to be sending hate or sending that type of low vibration back. But this person is always has something negative to say about certain celebrities. And in fact, they always have, I'm going to give an example. They've said a lot of really negative things about Cardi B. Now, this is not me fangirling Cardi B, because when it comes to, the rap girls, I like their music, but I am not a fan of anybody. I think the closest would be to Megan Thee Stallion. I think she's great, but I don't know her. So maybe she's not great. I don't know. But this person is always saying really negative things about Cardi B, but always big upping other celebrities that do the exact same thing Cardi B does. Okay. Now I'm not going to get in all of that, but they said, and this was just, I came across this YouTube video because it was in my recommendations. They said Cardi B is very low vibrational. And I took me aback because I thought to myself, what are you? What are you? Do you think you're high vibrational by what I just heard you say about her and many other women? That's concerning that you think that's high vibrational. And the reason I mention this person is that this person teaches manifestation. What? So you have the audacity to try to teach people about manifestation, yet you don't understand it yourself. Yet you don't understand that it's not about, I can manifest a car overnight. That's not, that's manifesting from ego, but that's not true manifestation. So this is what I mean. Think of what the opposite of that would be. Imagine coming across, let's say, a different blogger or YouTuber, and they have a very neutral way of how they talk about people. When they give you the news, it is just neutral. They don't seem to be on anybody's side. They tend to say favorable things about everybody. And even when people say, well, we want to know whose side you're on, they say, I'm not on anybody's side. I'm just giving you the news. That's it. Okay. Like, we all might come across gossip and read it, and you might have your opinions, but the people who deliver that news, they can choose to be neutral or they can choose to be negative. Or they could choose to be positive. So imagine coming across somebody who is the opposite of that. They, on the other hand, say, you know what? I really like this song from Cardi B's new album. And they left it at that. And they went on with their life. That's high vibrational. You see the difference? That's what the difference is. The difference isn't, I'm pointing the finger at you while I'm doing the exact same thing. That's low vibrational. And so Four of Wands energy means not only am I high vibrational, I'm feeding that to everybody around me that I care for, and we are just helping each other build. That's Four of Wands energy. This community of every single thing that I touch turns to gold, and then everything they touch turns to gold, and then everything they touch turns to gold. I prefer rose gold, so let's make it rose gold. Everything we touch turns to rose gold, new moons. That is Four of Wands energy. That is the message from your highest self. Think like that. Think of building a community around you of nothing but happiness, nothing but thriving, nothing but true gratitude. All right. Now let's get into your highest self and what they have on. So dressing as your highest self is a form of magic all on its own. It's a ritual. And so when you create a ritual, you are easily manifesting. I want you to think of every thread and every accessory that your highest self would wear. And when you put that on, do it with intention. I understand if your highest self only wears Gucci and you don't own anything from Gucci. Do you own anything similar? For instance, Gucci's colors are green and red. Now I know you're thinking Christmas, right? But put it together in the best way that you know how. Maybe your highest self drives an expensive car. I want you to drive your car as though it is that. Talk about it as though it is that. Get it maybe hand wash it yourself even. Okay? Think of yourself. In fact, if you want to go test drive a car that's extremely expensive, just remember that those people get paid on commission. And I really hate, as somebody who used to sell cars, I hate wasting people's time. I was great at selling cars, but I really hated when my time was wasted. And I don't like wasting other people's time. So I'm not going to advise you to just go to a dealership and waste somebody's time if you're not actually ready to buy. If you're ready to buy, go test drive that car. Okay. And don't give them your real number. They will blow up your phone. But I want you to think about what type of values that your highest self has. Cause it's not about just what you have on. What does your highest self behave like? What do they dream of? What goals would your highest self have? Cause think about, this is you reaching your highest potential, the best version of you. So when you reach that, what will be your goals then? Will it be to just maintain where you're at? Will it be, I want to take over the world and these are my other goals? And if you would like to go further with this particular ritual, write that down. Write down, okay, when I have reached what I consider to be my highest self, I have the body I want, I have the hair I want, I have the clothes that I want, I am constantly giving to charity, I have my own charity, etc. Now what? What would you want then? Okay? And I want you to think of it like this. I see this as kind of a message from your ancestors. When you're dressing up as your highest self, you're not actually pretending. You're not. You're actually fulfilling something that your ancestors knew generations ago. Maybe they didn't get to do it. I oftentimes say that about Lua Nova. So what is your version of what Lua Nova is? Okay? What does that look like for you? And another thing you can do, just to, if you want to make it more ritualistic, is maybe even having a kind of like an altar nearby. And this could be something that I used to have one of these. I called it my self-love altar. And it had things on it that made me feel good, such as perfume, such as rose petals from flowers that I've gotten from Eric, or, it would have a tarot card like the Empress, things of that nature, because that is helping you to connect with the vibration of your highest self as well. And maybe for you, gentlemen, maybe you have your favorite cologne that even if it's just the scent of that cologne on your altar. Altars don't have to be big. You can use an Altoid can to make an altar. It can be tiny. It can be something that you carry with you. And remember, you are the altar. So you can simply just be this. But if you want to that's just to kind of give you an example of something you can do to add to this. Okay. And I want to encourage you to think about the colors that your highest self wears, because colors are important. Colors mean something to us. You all know I love pink. That's my favorite color. I've never had any other favorite color, so I can't fathom a life where I wouldn't wear pink. I actually also wear a lot of black. My nails are black right now. And I mean, my highest self is going to continue to wear those colors, but definitely I'm always going to be surrounded with pink. So pink is important to me. Not only, of course, does it connect me with the divine feminine, it just connects me with who I am at my core. Does your highest self wear a particular color still? What are they like? What do they drink every morning? Do they drink coffee every morning? Do they just drink water? What is their day like? If you can, I want you to embody that for an entire day. So if you want to choose this holiday for this, that works too, but remember, this is a time to celebrate, not only celebrate your ancestors, but celebrating you, celebrating this version of you that you're becoming or that you have become. Okay. And so an affirmation that I want to leave you with is one that I hope works. Remember, guys, I was doing this very quickly when I threw this bonus together. On this night, when the veil is thin, I walk and embody my highest self. I honor those who came before me by becoming everything that they dreamed of. And so it is. All right, anyways, before we close out today's bonus, I just want to address a question from, let me find your information here. You hear me hitting my mouse. My apologies. This is from Brittany, and she is located in Bakersfield, California. Brittany asked me about Bad Bunny and if I am still a fan, if I would ever be a fan again. Do I still think that he's very performative? I think most celebrities are performative, yes. I am proud of the fact that he finally addressed the African influence in his music and his sound, all of the above. I think that a lot of non-Black Latinos, they tend to overlook that Afro-Latinos, Africans in general, are responsible for the sound, for the sound of the music, for the food, etc. So to deny us is disrespectful. And I appreciate that he began to incorporate more and more of the African influence in his imagery and not just his sound. So I appreciate that. Now, she was asking, how do I feel about him playing the Super Bowl? I mean, that's great. I think that there needs to be more Latin representation in general. And Bad Bunny has actually already played the Super Bowl. A lot of people don't remember that, but when J-Lo and Shakira played the Super Bowl, Bad Bunny was there. So go back on YouTube and look that up if you don't remember. But as somebody who used to be the biggest Bad Bunny fan, although I don't consider myself a fan anymore, I'm still happy to see how far he's come, how far he's going, and that does open doors for the Latin community as a whole. I do want to see more Afro-Latino and Afro-Latina representation in general, and not in all forms of media. So if you are Afro-Latino or Afro-Latina and you want a podcast, I want you to start podcasting. Okay? Because at some point, Lua Nova will become a network, and I'm going to want podcasts under mine that have a voice and that are not just fitting the norm. We don't fit into a box, okay? And I want you all to pick up that microphone and hit record. If I could hand you this other microphone that I have, I would. I want you to get to it though. But to answer your question, Brittany, I mean, I don't have anything negative to say. If that's what her question was, essentially, how do I feel about it? I don't have anything negative to say. When people ask me why I'm no longer a fan, because I think that he's very performative and not in a good way. So until I see otherwise, my stance remains as is. But he doesn't need me to be a fan. He has plenty of fans, and I no longer consider myself a fan of Beyonce, but I do think that she is outstanding. That's just to kind of give you an example of like, I can think somebody is great, but I don't have to be their fan. You know what I mean? I can just be like, I still think you're great. I think a lot of Cardi B's antics are very disturbing, but I think Cardi B is funny and puts out good music. Now her latest album, not really for me, but neither was Cowboy Carter. That doesn't take away their talent. You know what I mean? So you can give somebody praise, but also be blunt and honest and say, you know what, it's just not for me. That doesn't make you a hater. That doesn't mean you did something wrong. It's just not for you. I'm a fan of Hello Kitty. She's never let me down. So, I mean, there you go. There's your answer. Brittany, I don't know if I even answered that very well, but I hope you all watch the Super Bowl. Like I said, we need more Latin representation. So I think it's important to see that on TV. And for those who might not understand this, and I know that my listeners, you're extremely intelligent, so feel free to play this for people who don't seem to know this. Puerto Rico is part of the U.S. Okay? That is a U.S. territory. Yeah, they are U.S. citizens. I don't know why you don't know that. And it blows my mind sometimes that people don't know the basics, but they don't. Wow. So with all that said, Obrigada New Moons for aligning with the frequency of the Lua Nova podcast. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, please keep in mind that I am all booked up for 2025, but you can find information on how to book a reading with me as well as how to reach out to the Lua Nova team. All the above by going to luanovapodcast.net. That is also where you can read the full disclaimer. There's a lot of information there. You can even listen to Lua Nova right there at the top. And as you know by now, I'm very excited to talk about this. There is a spinoff of Lua Nova called Court of the New Moon. It is a spinoff podcast that will be airing once a month right here, so you don't even have to go anywhere to find me. And you can find out more information or submit a case to Court of the New Moon by going to courtofthenewmoon.com. Please check the show notes if you want to join the Patreon, if you want to donate via Venmo or Cash App, or find any other information such as the links that I just gave you. Okay? I will talk to you on Monday, New Moons. Have a safe holiday. Please be safe. Hug your loved ones and show some gratitude, especially for the loved ones that came before us. All right, New Moons. Ciao, ciao.